You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
And go.
Do the intro.
Oh, my tiny hands.
No.
What do you mean?
We're not. Do a normal intro. We're not talking about your tiny hands. We're past that.
That was a bit we did pre-show. We're making fun of your hands, and nobody understands what you're talking about.
So you
it
can't
really work.
They would have to meet me in person to understand the joke.
They would have to see your tiny hands in person. Yes, start the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Although I did. I said and go, and then Jerry's throwing it to you. This is a very convoluted opening. Welcome to the Board Game Snobs. I'm your consistent host, Gabi.
You are really loud.
I know it, but it's not that loud actually in production.
Okay. Well, right now you're blowing out my ears.
Okay, well, I'll turn
your
myself
voice
down.
is loud,
I
and
have a
Enrique's hands are
powerful voice.
small.
I
No,
have
you're
a
not
powerful
powerful.
voice.
It's
I have a
whiny.
voice that's
It's very
got a
whiny.
high pitch range.
High pitch. You get several
I'm
octaves.
blowing out the treble on all your speakers.
Um,
I'm your host, Gabi. With me today, as usual, Jerry.
As usual.
As usual, when I don't have a temporary co-host. And Enrique is back.
Yeah, I am back.
Tiny hands for a tiny microphone. I'm glad you're using that microphone.
I love this
proficiently.
microphone.
I'm glad you got it. Well, I've missed you, Jerry.
Huh?
I've missed you.
I missed you too.
You and Enrique have been posting podcasts. By the time this comes out, you'll have posted, I believe it's Thursday's podcast, when y'all played a buttload of games.
Yeah.
And you rave about Heat.
Heat. Yep.
Heat
Not
is a
the
good
Michael
game.
Mann show. Which
Game
is
of the Con.
great show.
Heat is on.
No.
A Don Johnson song, by the way. And y'all called yourselves Crockett and Tubbs as you went to the
That's
BGG.
Don Johnson
The
singing
Heat
that?
is on. No, Heartbeat. Listen to your heartbeat. I don't know who the Heat is on.
I don't know who. And it never.
Don Johnson had a song called Heartbeat.
It never explains who the Heat is on. It wasn't the Miami.
First, let me see who sings The Heat is on. Then we can go from there.
Please do. This is very interesting. I am thrilled to know who sings
Heat
The Heat
is
is
on.
on. The Heat, the
Well,
board
that's the
game.
Beverly Hills soundtrack. Glenn Fry.
Oh. Fry.
Now, Heartbeat.
Fry.
Glenn, maybe Frey. F-R-E-Y. How would you
Fry.
pronounce that? Frey?
Frey.
Frayed not.
I don't know.
Fry. Heartbeat by Don Johnson.
The Don Johnson.
The
They
one and only.
did another net.
Heartbeat. Don Johnson. He sang a song called Heartbeat.
Okay, thanks for
A one-hit wonder. Not counting, of course, his smash hit show, Miami Vice, and his other smash hit show that Jerry loves, Nash Bridges.
which they just made a movie about, which I haven't got around to watching.
It's awful.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you were
Can't capture that
if you
magic again.
of Cheech Marin and Don Johnson.
You can't
If you
recreate that.
enjoyed the show, I'm quite sure you'll enjoy the movie.
Well, I'll have to watch it. But I'm just saying it's hard to capture that. They were in their prime.
Here's the thing, and that's what I was going to say with you.
I'm in my
I've,
prime.
I've missed the riffing.
Yeah.
Like-
This is our
like,
first
you
episode back.
Like the riffing between the three of us is I can't, even though I have Dan on, I have Ben on, I've had Mark on, I've had Mike on. I miss the riffing.
Yeah, nobody riffs like I do.
There no Eddie Riffin.
The riff is on.
The And We Riffin show. Peter Riffin, a Family Guy. See, we're riffing on the word riffin. Eagle Riffin Games.
The man from Riffin River. I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing with this. This is
I'm going with riffin.
okay. Why don't you do your banter?
We're knocking it out of the park like Cal Riffin Jr. You know any baseball stuff, Cal Ripken Jr.? Remember him?
I do. I like the guy.
Known as the Iron Man. You know why?
Because he pumped iron.
He did not miss a game for a long, like years.
Who was
he
the
went without
dude
injury.
that did all the? It was Sosa and
Talking
McGuire.
about the drug guys?
McGuire, yeah, that they hit all the home runs because
Yeah.
they were shooting up shark testosterone.
In the year of steroids?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they had they looked weird.
They hit
their
I
neck
forget how. Oh, they were very thick.
very thick
Very thick-necked.
because they were taking all the steroids.
Have you ever seen like the picture of Barry Bonds' head from when he started to where he ended? It's a large head full of steroids.
They were hitting dingers.
HC Jason.
That's that's a callback to Jason. Like, I'm sure everybody knows.
Surprisingly, like, he commented on a podcast that we just did about rondelles, and he mentioned, incidentally, speaking of, everyone was unanimously on my side in the rondelle discussion.
It doesn't matter who's on whose side, they're wrong.
And the discussion was of what counts as a rondelle, and Jerry's just dead set on it has to be a circle, a sphere. A spherical circle.
It's round.
And I
Roundel.
say that doesn't count these days, because board gaming has advanced to now they have everything's with a twist. You got worker replacement with a twist. It's a rondelle with a twist.
That's not a circle?
That's what it is.
That's not a rondelle. It's worker placement with a twist. There's no workers, and you don't place them anywhere. Is it a worker placement?
Yep.
Why?
For the worker placement.
No, but what makes it a worker
It's a
placement?
new age worker placement.
What makes it a worker placement?
I was just talking about just like language changes.
No,
it doesn't mean what it used to mean. There's so many words that no longer mean what they used to mean.
That's not an argument.
Pretty sure that,
But it is. No, definitions change. Rondelle is no longer, it doesn't have to be. It does not have to be a circular.
Here's the thing. The definition has not changed. People have mistaken something and called it something else. The definition of rondelle is still the same. There's no official dictionary or nomenclature that say anything. No, because a bunch of people got together and are wrong about something.
Before Oxford gets together for their next meeting about definitions, they're going to change what rondelle can mean.
No, I'm just saying it's not the definition. Definitions do change.
That's correct.
But a bunch of people getting together and being wrong about something does not change the definition. Enrique has zero input in this.
no, I don't.
Like, he literally just stopped.
Because
you're no Jack the Riffer.
Because really, you going back with the riff and stuff?
Go back to the Riffer.
You can't
not
go
even,
back.
it wasn't funny the first time. It's not funny now.
It was mildly like
It wasn't even mild. Don't even say that.
you got like a air breath for me, and that's it.
Air breath. Ha.
What does that mean? I have a question for you.
It's an air laugh. Ha.
Do birds have shoulders?
I guess not. Yes, maybe.
By definition, I don't think so. I'm trying to think.
Oh,
I would
man
like
of
shoulders
definitions.
would be like
They have a head.
they have no shoulders.
Shoulders are technically
very
a type of
smooth.
joint, which Cheech Marriage would know about.
Birds have a scapula, and they also have an additional shoulder bone called the coracoid. So the scapula of a human is their shoulder bone. So birds technically have shoulders. So the reason I bring this up is the albatross, which can stay in the air for days at a time, gliding on the winds of the ocean. I forget the exact name of the albatross. There's several different types of albatross, and I had it written down, but I do not. But there's an albatross that can, and I know this because it said they have tendons, special tendons in their shoulders. And I was like, birds have shoulders? Where these tendons can lock. Therefore, they have a fixed wing like an airplane, enabling them to glide and ride the jet streams of air on the ocean. They call it dynamic soaring. And that's they go up, they dive down, and then they catch it, and it lofts them back up in the air again. Much like a glider.
Yeah.
But I found it fascinating that these albatrosses have a tendon in their shoulders, because you look at a bird. If I said you have the shoulders of a bird,
You do have a shoulder.
it would not be a statement of which to be impressed by.
No, you don't have any
thanks for
shoulders.
the insult, guys.
You're
That's
basically
phenomenal.
You have a slightly thicker neck. That's it. You don't even have.
Everything is like I have very small arms, but a fat body and a thick neck with
Your
a small
body's
head.
not that fat. I have a fat body. You have little fingers, little hands.
Chicken fingers
Your shoulders are
and buffalo
okay,
wings.
they're not great.
You know,
They're meh.
I'd say your shoulders are Your
Average.
scapula is quite average.
Average.
But the wings of an albatross, and there's a variety. I forget which one this one it was. I thought I had it written down here, but apparently I've lost
The
it.
listeners demand to know what type of albatross.
Wandering The wandering albatross.
I was wondering what it was.
I was wondering about the wandering albatross. They can stay in the air for days.
They're high.
Simply gliding on the air. My question is, speaking of how they're high, how do they sleep? Do they sleep?
While in the air?
I don't think so.
You could just kind of doze?
They put on autopilot?
Like,
No, they're cranked up on meth.
huh?
How could a bird stay awake for that long, just soaring in the wind? I wonder what animal stays awake the longest.
I used to know this.
Really?
This was a quiz, and I remember looking it up. I know like elephants have like a gestational period of like camels have like a gestational period of like, I forget. It's like an incredibly long time. And
Gestation.
yeah, like birthing periods, like how long that they're pregnant. Like elephant gestational periods are really long.
What animal is like awake the longest?
I know. I'm trying. There's a.
Like I used to think sharks never slept because people were like, oh, if a shark sleeps, it dies. But they like stay awake wiggling in the ocean.
They just wiggle around.
I think so. What animals stay awake the longest? It's right there. It's number 3 on my Googles. Koalas are the longest sleeping mammals. So you ask a question, what animal stays awake the longest? Google tells me which one sleeps the longest. The exact opposite of what I need.
Seabirds.
So
They
it would
sleep 40 minutes of sleep per day, and they spread these out in 12-second mini naps. Large seabirds called great frigate birds.
Get that frigate out of here.
Elephants doze, sleep about 2 hours a day. Horses only sleep about 3 hours a day. Giraffes.
This says, according to Sleeping Animals at Wikipedia, however, killer whales and some other dolphins do not sleep during the first month of life.
Bullfrogs. They
That
go
would make-
sleep without months at a time.
Wow, bullfrogs. So they need to take some bullfrog genetics. They're always trying to figure out how to make super soldiers, you know? And, you know, they like test them by like how long they can stay awake. So give them bullfrog genetics. Frogmen. The Navy SEALs. They can stay awake forever. Isn't that what they call the Navy SEALs? Frogmen?
But that's not why they call them that. I don't think.
They can stay awake a long time.
I don't think that's part of the test.
It's all the warts.
I don't know. It could be. Or they jump really high. I don't know. I don't think that's it.
You won't
It's
discuss
probably
that.
all the spandex they wear. They make them look like they're, kind of frog-legged.
I've got a wart on my nose. I'm a frogman. Welcome to the Navy SEAls.
All right. That albatross banter was hot.
That albatross. The albatross is like it like can circumvent the globe.
It means go around.
Means go around.
The
You know what
definition
circumvent
the
means?
definition of circumvent hasn't changed.
Circumvent?
Circumvent.
I don't believe I
It's
should.
different than circumcise. If they circumcise the globe, it'd be a very short flight.
There would be
okay.
no Florida.
It'd be a blessing to the entire
You
Earth.
not like Florida?
Florida is just like a very...
That's where the heat's on.
Yeah, but still,
Miami Vice.
it's just like...
So is this? So are we transitioning out of the banter? Or is this it?
I've missed this riffing. I'm just saying.
I know. Well, we've riffed
Yeah.
a lot.
yeah, there's a lot of
this-
riffing.
What if they mistook Jack the Ripper and it was just Jack the Riffer?
This is a guy
And he like goes up to prostitutes. Oh, you're a night owl, I say. Whoo.
just
Who's gonna take you tonight?
he just goes around insulting people. That's all it is. Bunch of people calling it to the cops. My feelings were really hurt. By who? Jack the Riffer. Oh yeah, did you see the background? You hear him in the background. 911 go. What are you? You calling your mom?
Just doing a bunch of skits.
Oh yeah. What kind of phone is that? Is that an i4? Just yelling at people and insulting him. Jack the Riffer. Okay, so that's so I can't help but notice that you have pages.
Yeah, I noticed.
I print out stuff to look at and to have us going.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's at least like 20
I printed out
pages.
Wandering Albatross, but I couldn't find it because I was in such a frenzy.
I couldn't find it, so
I know, you
therefore
just
I
I
printed
was
frantically
in
went
such
through
a
this-
frenzy with my riffing.
You frantically went through your pile of papers and pulled out
Merv
something.
Riffin, the Merv Riffin show.
Okay, that's got to stop. We've got
It's
to
like, whose line is it anyway? I used to love that show.
I know those people weren't that funny.
They are no okay. So I hate the singing portions.
I do too.
I don't like singing. Isn't funny,
No.
and that's why I'm not a Wayne Brady guy because that was his shtick. Which, by the way, in the podcast you just did with Enrique, you said stick.
I said stick. That's his stick?
You said that's their stick. And I was
It's
like,
their
oh,
stitch.
I should
I meant to say
here.
stitch. It's their stitch.
As an editor, I should intervene and say what Jerry meant to say was shtick. But, I just let you.
Shtick.
You said stick, and I just let
That's
it lie.
right. That's Hebrew for
No one
act,
would
isn't
never-
it? Shtick?
Now, if you didn't
Shit.
say anything, no one would have noticed.
Everyone notices.
No, they
well,
don't.
speaking of comedy, I've been recently just moved into my new house. And before that, I was staying at my in-laws briefly. They watch with my children every night when it comes on AFV. Do you know what AFV is?
Yeah, American's funniest videos.
Thank you for that.
Bob Saget.
No.
Or Robert Berger. Is it Bob Bergeron? What's his name?
No.
Not Bob
Do
Saget.
you know who they have hosting now?
Who
Wayne
is
Brady.
it?
No.
Drew Carey.
No.
Steve Harvey.
Alfonso Roberto, the guy,
that's
you know,
right.
what's his name?
Yeah,
Winston?
Prince.
Is it not Winston?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who did the dance? Why am I trying to do the dance on a podcast that you can't see? You can't see my slime moves.
They can hear the
Alfonso.
snapping.
That's not Winston.
Rivera.
That was, yeah. Well, Alfonso Rivera. Yeah. Anyways, so he and I did a gobby on this.
You did a gobby?
Yeah. So when you're watching something and you have to go really meta.
Carlton.
You did the Carlton. When you're watching something and you have to go really meta and look up stuff that has nothing to do with the show, he makes $150,000 per episode.
Touche, Carlton.
And all he does is get on and tell incredibly cheesy, incredibly dry jokes.
Oh, did you ever watch the Bob Saget ones?
Yes, that was pretty bad.
That's the same.
So, during the AFV viewing marathon that I've had to endure, my daughter, at some point in time, one evening, says, "Hey, are we going to watch AFV?" I go, yeah, we will. And then later on, I said, "We're going to watch America's Funniest Home Videos?" And she says, "What?" I said, "The funniest videos, American." She says, "Why are you calling it that?" And I go, AFV. America's Funniest Videos.
Not an acronym person.
And she looks at me and she says, That's
Initialism.
what that stands for. And I said, yeah. And she looks at me and says, I thought it stood for Alfonso's Videos. And I looked at her with such, and I realized they never say it. They go through the acronym. And so he starts each show. I'm Alfonso. And she just thought, hey, AF, Alfonso.
It's Alfonso show.
Alfonso's Videos. That's cool. So she literally thinks that Alfonso, this guy
made this show.
sits around and just collects these videos and then shows it.
Which should be so out of date now because basically it's TikTok.
Yeah, but all these videos, they have to get videos. Here's why I think it's fake.
Oh, there have been fake forever.
They have to be, because if they were
all the nut shots have been fake.
if they were good, they would be on the internet. Like, all the funny stuff shows up on the internet way before this. So you would think the internet would kill AFB.
Yes, it should have.
But somehow, suspiciously, these people shoot something that's incredibly funny. It never goes viral. Nobody ever sees it. And it shows up just to Alfonso. I am very suspicious.
It's been on for 33 seasons.
Very suspicious about AFV.
Are you sure it's still airing?
I just watched it. They're still making it. It's chronic.
Tom Bergeron, that's what
I didn't watch what I remember Bob. Bob was my era.
No, Tom. Oh, Bob Saget.
Bob, yeah. He's dead now.
R.I.P.
But yeah, so I'm just saying.
I mean, yes, I believe half of the TikTok. That's one another reason. Even the TikTok stuff is all fixed. Everything's fake. Everything is fake. Fake news.
Well,
you can't
the
trust
TikTok
anything on the
thing to me is, I don't understand why that's even.
I hate it. It's like you have this husband and wife, and it's like, oh, I'm going to pull this prank on my husband. And like,
my favorite thing is somehow people recording other people with their phone. I've never been able to record anybody with my phone doing anything because they look and go, "Why you look? What's with your phone?" Like,
it seemed like it would be very awkward.
It would be very awkward. And some of them walk around with like their video in their face, like they're holding their phone. Wouldn't you ask, like, nobody ever says, "Are you recording this?" Mm-hmm. Like, you walk into somewhere and you have the phone and it's pointed at your face.
And isn't that like illegal in some states?
No, some, but not most of them. No, the single party state. So it's just very odd Is that a thing now that people can just record you and
It's
you just
not,
don't
people
call
record
it out?
nonstop.
I don't get that. Like, I don't
The
like.
kids are recording nonstop.
I don't like that.
Well,
I think it's dumb. I think it's very, very dumb.
You're so old. Jerry.
No, I think.
You're
Well,
so
I know
old.
not this because the
You're
younger
showing
crowd.
your age.
No. The younger crowd does it, but for what purpose?
No purpose.
It has, that's why it's interesting that old quote unquote old timey phone calls of just, hey, let me call you on my audio device and you only hear my audio. Like, that's gone. Everyone does video calling now.
I don't. It irritates me that you do it. I don't. You video call Shar all the time. Y'all and look at each other, and I don't understand it.
It's an additional dimension of connection. I can see you and I can hear you.
But the part of being
That's why some people like video podcasts. They like being able to see our reactions and our facial expressions.
No. The part of
It's an additional dimension.
part of having not to watch something though is that you can do something else. You can just listen.
Well, that's half of what happens all the time when I'm talking to Sade. It's like she sets the phone down and walks away, and I'm just staring at the ceiling.
Well, why don't you see that's pointless?
I know. I agree.
It's pointless.
Sometimes it's pointless.
It's very pointless.
But I think, like Gina's family, they got on Marco Polo. You on that app?
Mm-mm.
It's not a two-way call. It's a text message, but it's a video text message.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm
stupid.
sending this to you. You called my family stupid just now.
No, I'm
Basically,
calling
yeah.
the app stupid.
By the transitive properties, you called my family stupid.
No,
'cause they use
I'm
it.
not.
Because they use it to communicate. Like I Marco Polo, my brother-in-law, and said, "How do you make this smoky margarita?" And like, so he's talking to me, and he's just recording himself walking down the street, and he's not looking at the phone. It is silly, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's the new thing, and now it's phone calls. It's like in the future, in all these future movies,
Mm-hmm.
it's all video calls.
I know. I don't like that.
Welcome to the future, my friend.
I'm saying
you're in the future.
It's like why did
No.
what? I mean,
Hey, welcome to the future.
you just talk on the phone. You don't have to do it. You
It's
don't
gone.
Yes.
That age is over,
No,
Jerry.
I talk to people on the phone all the
That
time.
age is over.
I don't video call. I talk to them on the phone.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what to
And
do.
why would I do that? It's
You will someday. You're gonna when Jack and Kaya get to where they're going to be.
They're not.
Guess
gonna
what? How they're going to be talking to you?
reject.
No.
They reject, and you're gonna talk to me over the phone like a normal person, so that I can be driving and doing other things.
You can draw. You don't have to look, but if you
That's
want to
stupid.
look, it's an option.
That's stupid.
If
That
you
is-
want
that
to
is-
take in the face of the child whom you love
I
and say,
Yeah,
"That's
it's
my
a good-
daughter Kaya. I love you, and I love to see your face." Now that you've moved 1,000 miles away and you've married this man and had 4 children, I still love you, and I still want to see your
and
face.
so she can see her. Yeah, I just don't like.
But you
I
will
don't
someday.
feel like he would say
Someday
those
you will.
exact words, but we'll
Because
just.
Jerry doesn't express emotion in that way.
Oh, obviously not. But we won't
Why,
talk
why I
about
feel
that.
attacked? Why are y'all attacking me? This is why I rarely come on this show. That's why I've been so. This is my first episode back from BGG, and the first episode that we made it back where I finally got moved.
I'm
My
about to say,
life
this
is
is the
better.
first episode. You're in your home. And so we played today. We played several games.
We
which I
played
was very
3
excited about
games, all
it.
good.
3 freaking good games.
Fantastic.
One was an
games.
old game that we played before. 2 were newer games to us.
They're pretty new within the last year or two.
Newer.
Both of them.
Weren't both the 2 new games that we got was from the
The barrage.
Bazaar?
The barrage.
yeah
the bazaar.
the bazaar
The very bizarre barrage.
yeah the barrage
A barrage to your senses at the bazaar.
That I overspent, but that's okay. I brought back.
I'm
overspent.
glad
You
you brought
basically
back-
broke yourself.
You
But
can't break me. I'm unbreakable. I'm unbreakable. I'm
You
unstoppable.
know,
I'm sorry.
150,000 podcasts in.
I know.
You still don't
doesn't-
understand
I-
how to mic.
He doesn't
Yeah,
know where to
obviously
point
not.
his mouth.
But I
But
read
one of the games you brought back was
Brian Boru
Brian
from the
Boru.
Bizarre Barrage from BGG. Now, Brian Boru, he was the
High King of Ireland.
Yes, he's the one that they thought defeated the Vikings, but now there's some archaeological evidence that perhaps he didn't, but maybe he did.
He just had his historian write, "Hey, put in there, I defeated the
Well,
Vikings."
you know, if you
No one will ever know
if
the
you're
difference.
writing history, you kind of put down your own. Like you say stuff.
Before they had cell phones to document everything,
Right.
You could say whatever you wanted.
Just put down what you want.
You could,
Who's going to say anything?
Exactly.
The Vikings. I got that. I got that.
you could kill someone, and unless you were there when the cops showed up, You were scot-free.
Nah.
Yes.
Be like, nah, I didn't do that. Who killed this Scotsman? Not me. Oh, you're off scot-free.
Okay, see.
Now off you go.
I would like to take credit for that, but my conscience won't allow me. That is a... who's the guy that's super popular now?
We don't...
Always dresses in a business suit.
We don't plagiarize. Doug Stanhope.
No.
Andrew Tate?
No.
Andrew Tate.
I don't know.
I love his comedy.
I always say that. No, it's the guy from SNL, and he's got John
Mulaney. Had to pull it out of nowhere.
That was his joke, and he said, back in the old days, they'd be like announcing, they go, and shoot their names into the walls. You're like, oh, the Brian Buster gang was here. He's like, unless you were there when the cops showed up, you got off scot-free.
Oh, the 20s.
Stuff. You want to hear real funny humor? Listen to John Mulaney.
He's coming here soon.
Really?
Yeah, not here personally, all the podcasts.
Oh,
although,
hey,
we might as well
stopped by.
We might as well hit up John.
He
Maybe we'll get John on the show.
At your house?
Get John. Email him. I'll put out an email. I bet John will. But anyways, Brian Boru is a OG game. Osprey Games, and we really like Osprey Games.
Very few misses.
Pierce Sylvester is the designer. He's also the dude that designed The King is Dead, which just had its second edition, which is a good edition. I like The King is Dead a lot. Ryan Boru is kind of a take on that. Actually, it's a trick-taking game. And if you listen to this show, you know that I hate trick-taking games.
I hate trick-taking. The only good trick-taking game is 42 and Dominoes.
Okay?
Like, for me, I love trick.
You don't even know what a trick-taking game is.
More or less.
What is it?
It'd be just a draft.
No.
No?
No, trick-taking games like you play spades. Like here's three of hearts, and then the other person's got to play a heart that's higher than that. Remember that? Like that?
Yeah.
You like that?
I like it.
You don't like that.
You have spades?
Why did I ask your opinion?
Have you ever played spades? The card game.
I probably played spades.
He
but
doesn't.
I just
He
don't
doesn't
remember.
know.
You don't know.
You hate trick-taking games. We don't
them.
have any to play. We hate them so much.
You're either with us or you're against us.
Prepare to be.
Do you hate trick-taking?
I can't say.
Yes.
I can't say because I have
But
no
you know
memories
what?
of it.
So
After today,
what
is your answer?
I like. This is the only trick-taking game I like.
this game, we played Brian Boru, High King of Ireland. I think they even have like the Irish Celtic pronunciation.
The Hochkönig von Ireland.
Yeah, that may be Germanic. I don't know. I can't tell the difference.
There's a umlaut. No, that's not an umlaut. What's the 2 thing? That's somebody sent me an email and corrected me.
That was Ryan Maxwell.
He did?
I think so. Your bowler man with a bowler hat. This game seems okay, let's break this down like they do on every other podcast. Components. I love this board.
Okay.
I've never seen this board is plain, but yet pretty, and you can tell everything that's on it. There's nothing jumbled.
Like my second wife.
There's nothing jumbled or confused. We're setting it up, and Enrique said, I like this board.
Yeah, because as soon as I brought it out, it was shining.
It's just a pretty board. God. The game itself consists of discs and other discs with holes in them and cards.
Holy discs.
Holy discs. And in fact, you have discs which go to
This is incredibly boring.
You have
this is incredibly boring.
Your future wife, perhaps.
Listen. Stop. Or
you have discs that claim parts of the land.
I'm about to fall asleep. You're boring me to death. Boring me to death. So essentially, not only are the components in this game very drab, but they've taken something that is very muted and added just a little bit to it. Like the board itself has that nice little sheen that some of these companies do.
Charlie.
And the various components, although they're very simple, they're very well done. Even all the artwork on the cards, it looks a little bit like a Equate Brand-ish, a little bit, where it's not so colorful. It's muted, but still that same.
And I would say the card stock is not great.
It's all right.
But the board is fantastic. I love that.
In this game, all you're doing, if you're familiar with The King is Dead, is you're trying to control certain areas of this of the map. Each area has little towns in it. And basically, on your turn, who's ever the first player, the lead player, puts a little marker that says, this is the town that we're fighting for. And then you play a trick-taking game where you play cards from your hand that are color-coded and have numbers on them. There's only about, I think it's like 25 cards in the game. They're all dealt out except for one in the game.
I never saw 25.
There is. And then you lay them out on the deck. One person plays the color that matches the town that you're fighting for, and then everybody else can decide, are you going to follow suit?
But here's the thing. The only difference in this... Usually in trick-taking, you have to follow suit if you have it.
And this game, you don't have to. And so that little twist on the trick-taking aspect of it are you going to follow suit and try to win this, or are you going to purposely play a card and lose, is the big decision point of the game. Because on the cards, if you win the suit, the top part is the main action that you can take. If you lose the suit, there's little actions in the bottom of the card that you can take instead. And sometimes you desperately need to take the secondary actions, the little actions that you want to lose. Matter of fact, for the most part, you kind of want to lose. You kind of want to lose. You want to lose the trick sometimes. And then sometimes you desperately want to win. And winning basically means you put your little marker out upon that town and now you own it. Now that's in control. And then there's these few little tracks that you have, such as the marriage track. If you lose, sometimes you can move up on the marriage track. And there's one person out there that you're trying to wed into your family. And if you get that person, then you get this bonus. And so everybody's trying to get up on that track. And then there's Viking tokens out there that are coming out that you have to deal with. And if you're playing cards that help you defeat the Vikings, you're collecting these Viking tokens. And at the end of the round, you see who's done the most to fight the Vikings. And then your stuff is safe. But then you put markers out that attack other people's little towns.
The Vikings hail from Minnesota.
The religion track. If you put on enough little of your influence into religion, then you can build not a cathedral, a monastery in your area, which counts as 2 points as in an area. And then you kind of do a little area control thing over the various places on the map.
I found it interesting, though. The religion track is crosses. Did they even have Christianity in that area at that time? Or is this all pagan?
I don't... It was 100,000, year 100... Year 1,000
years ago?
I mean, 1,000, I'm sorry. Year 1,000 A.D. was Byron Boru.
I guess the Romans probably made their way over.
So it was in the Dark Ages. Okay. So the Romans were... This
is a subject for Space Biff. I'm sure he covered it by now.
So yeah. So anyways, this game plays very quickly in terms of what you're doing with these tricks. It's very deceptively easy to learn. The rule book was set out. There's only a few blind spots or little bitty questions I had. Other than that, this game is very slick. If you like The King is Dead or Ethnos,
which the King, both of those are ultimately area control games,
right? Ethnos, Royals, anything of that nature. This game is really well done.
So what I found as the game progressed, and I didn't realize this was our first game, and I'm like, oh, by the end of the game, you're like, oh, okay, so this is all the ways you can score points, which we didn't even fully know until the very last scoring in which Jerry was reading the rules. You can score points by area majority, and then at the end of the game, you can score points by the diversity. If you diversify how many of these different are the countries,
just
regions that you're in.
Countries are countries. Ireland is a country.
If you have, that's true. So the different regions of Ireland that you're in.
Duchies?
I don't know.
Ducheries. We've had this history.
Duchess?
What do they have in Ireland?
We need some Irish listeners.
Mm-hmm. We need to get Simpson on here. Is he Scottish?
He's Scottish.
How do you not I never can remember.
Ireland is.
Well, this episode is scot-free. Take that, Simpson.
So in scoring, there's area majority, which is really the crux of the game. You're doing
the crutch. Go ahead. I had to correct you.
I know that's how you feel. The trick taking takes place so that you can place your little disc in these cities, and you want to do that, and you do want to do that so that you have area control. You want the majority so that you control these regions. And within that, that's what I'm saying. Within that, there's so many little things that are available in this game. So you can get these religion discs, what the cathedrals or whatever, monasteries that go over your city that count for 2 points instead of 1 point. So it's just all these little additional things you can do to gain control of these cities. And then the Vikings can attack. And if you have the majority of Viking tokens, then you can attack an opponent's city, thereby taking them out and raising up your majority. This game is simple. But once you really get into it, my God, it is not simple. It's not that it's not simple. It's that there's
It's not that it's not simple. It's complicated. You were about to say that. You were fighting for it. You had to fight it off.
Basically, that's what I'm saying. But I loved this game. By the end, I did not get it until 3/4 of the way through when Jerry's gathering these points towards him. Like, oh, I own control of this because we misunderstood the diversity thing of having a city and a region. No, we all three misunderstood.
I didn't misunderstand nothing. I won the game.
He won the game.
Well, but you didn't understand how you won it until the very end.
I understood how I won.
He understands victory. That's all he knows.
Well, Enrique did win this game.
Ireland, Enrique
aggressively
is your king.
He is the Brian Boru of the day.
And I only had 2 major regions. Well, Jerry had 5, but you messed up at the very beginning.
Well, but that's the thing. So in this game, money is super hard to come by.
Yeah, there's no money in Ireland.
You only gain it. The only gain you make is if you have a low-level card that by some miraculous way, when you claim a region, okay, so in the game...
This is getting very complicated.
No. In the game, when you start the game off and you say, okay, we're going to fight over this city. There's 3 different colors, red, yellow, blue. If you start the game, you have to play the color of the city you're fighting over, or the wild, which is white. If by some chance you start off, I'm claiming this red city, you play a low red card. The lower the card, the better the benefits are if you win.
Correct.
But that's obvious because if you play a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4,
you're going to lose.
Most of the time, somebody obviously has a higher card than that. But one time, Jerry had a bunch of blues, and neither me or Enrique had any blues. We were singing the blues.
You were singing the blues.
As Jerry won those those towns, therefore dominating that region with his blues.
Domination.
It's just there's such the intricacies of the game within the game. I didn't appreciate it at the beginning, and actually. About 1/4 of the way through, I was thinking, I don't like this game.
You're wrong. I told you don't like it.
But about halfway through, I was like, oh.
I just read the rules.
I didn't realize you could do this.
I didn't realize I liked this.
And then about 2/3 of the way through, I realized how you score for those regions. And then at the end of the game, I fully appreciated that this is a fantastic game with the multiple ways of multiple tracks to victory. Like Jerry did. Jerry had the majority of regions and control. He had the most diversity.
I'm all about diversity.
But this is a point I skipped. I started off and then I got sidetracked. And when you win a city, when you play a card and you fight over it and you win it, a lot of the times you have to pay a coin or coins. If you don't have those coins to pay, you have to fulfill that. You have to. So instead of paying a coin, it costs you 2 victory points per coin. Jerry lost 10 points of victory because he kept winning these cities but didn't have coins to pay.
We were very poor.
So you fell way back just taking over these regions. But then you still ended up in second place, very close to Enrique, because you won those regions and had control.
And we never really competed on the marriage track. Each turn there's a spouse or person that comes out that you basically can marry into your family and gives you a pretty major bonus. We, for some reason, never got further up the track to marry said person because they only last that one turn. And so all 3 of us, even one time that at Gabi, won the last bride, he spurned her for victory points and refused to marry her. So we all made it out of the game with our virginity intact. Nobody married anybody into the family.
Fighting.
We're too busy fighting. Now we did those Vikings.
My woman is my blade.
I love those Vikings. It was
Oh, hey. Oh, the Vikings.
the fighting was simple, but it was very.
You need to go to Iceland. Or is it Greenland?
Who cares?
What happened to Kersliffer? He's probably up there. We got Viking friends. We should ask them if they like Boru.
I was going to say the only thing. So when these Viking tokens come out, there's a number of ways to disqualify. No, actually, the Viking token is the only way to disqualify your opponents. The only thing I kind of wish they had was a way to like bump out your opponents.
Well, so you can't take over someone else's city, but what you can do, if you have majority in the Vikings, you can kind of send a Viking token over to cover up their city, put it under their control, and make them lose it. Or going through the religion route, you can get the monastery. Yeah, fight that. Yeah, fight that yeast. I got a reskin.
That's the yeast of your troubles.
I got a reskin for this game. I got a good idea. Hey, Osprey Games, call me. I got an idea. You see here, if you play enough,
control of this.
If you get enough of the CVS tokens and you get your monostat out of here, and you don't have so much candidus, candidus. How do you say that?
Can die.
Candi?
I don't know.
You can't.
You're asking.
You don't even know.
We're asking.
But the monasteries double your victory points or double your worth of a city in an area. Anyways, long story short, absolutely love this game. I think it's probably this is a game, but I often will talk about on the podcast where I'll say, is this game a potential to be in my top 10? That most certainly is. It is that good. I mean, it's been a long time since I played a game this good.
We had a very nice day of gaming in which we played another game. We'll talk about it later. For me, I think I prefer the secondary game, which we'll talk about next week.
Later.
But this game is one of those games that's like, it's exactly what we talk about on several other episodes where it's like, it's trick taking, but it's also area control, but it's also, you're not running up tracks. There's one track you run up with the weddings, but with the religion, like you can go several different areas with the religion, with the weddings. Is there a third track? Or is that it?
Church. The religion, the
weddings.
That's
if you consider the Vikings,
the
Vikings, yeah. So
it's not really even a track.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But it's not a track, but yet it kind of is. It's like you got
for
religion,
it to be a track.
Vikings,
there has to be a track.
But you have the Vikings, the weddings, and
it's not a track.
You're wanting the majority of the points in that particular area aspect of the game.
Okay, I'm just making sure people were looking at this game expecting a track.
But that's the thing. They could have made each of those a track, but they made the wedding a track.
Right.
They made the Vikings, the fighting, tokens you take off.
Right.
They made the religion tokens you put in.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to diversify the way you do it, but ultimately they could have just made each of those a track. So there are tracks, in my opinion.
Track. No, they're not. No, there's not a track.
But there is.
No, there's not. You just said there could have been.
It serves the same purpose.
No. Why couldn't you have made the marriage thing not a track and just had something
make it some tokens, though.
Okay, cool. It could have been tokens.
Okay, so it could.
So there would be no tracks. But it's not. It's a track, right?
What are you going to call that? The token retrieval part of the game?
Yes. Why not?
Why do you love to fight over
No, you love to be wrong.
No,
you love to make up something.
These little tiny eccentricities that make no difference because
they
the
make
game
a big difference. Because what if somebody thought they get this game out like, where's the Viking track? Gobby said there's a Viking track. There's no track, and people were really wanting track. Just like you've got all these people out here clamoring for a rondelle that doesn't exist. They're going to be looking and going, I thought it was a circle. Where's the rondelle? Where is it? Where is the rondelle, Gobby? Where is it?
If they have minds that are able to think outside the box, they can understand that it's a rondelle.
Well, I'm just saying, there's certain definitions It's what it is.
Okay, so why do you think they did that then? Why is the wedding a track? The Vikings tokens you take off, you retrieve off the board, and the religion disc you put in.
Okay.
Is that just to make it... Why not... I'm serious. Why not just make them all 3 tracks?
Because there's not enough... It clogs the board.
So it's just an efficiency problem with the board designer.
Right, yeah. You want to have something that looks nice. You don't want tracks everywhere. It confuses people. There's
lots of games with multiple tracks.
And they
My boss had 4 tracks all the way around. Perfectly fine.
No, no, they didn't.
Yes, it did.
No, they were attached to it. The board itself. And they were on the all top, bottom, and everything.
My God.
So,
you should have been a lawyer.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
The letter of the law says.
I'm just saying. I'm making sure.
Oh my
making
God.
sure. Just making sure people understand. Enrique, rate this game.
10 out of 10.
OMG.
And
oh Lord.
Like for me, I'm not seeing anything wrong with it. Even the ties. You know how ties
I
are
love
just
ties.
like, oh, you get compensation if you tie with someone else.
I prefer bolos.
It doesn't do that. And I like that. It's like, oh, hey, you two tied, you get nothing.
This game is very hard.
This game, that's a good point. This game was brutal. If you tie, or it's like, you get nothing. You get nothing. Money is impossible to come by.
Yeah, like
unless you go up the marriage track.
You can't even
or
be
you win
on
a
the
low level city with a low level card.
If you go up the same track on the marriage thing and you land on the same player, you go back. Like, no, too bad.
And to get past them, you have to pay.
You have to pay. Get a bet.
And it even has a slight catch-up mechanic for the tracks as well.
They do.
Instead of money, it should have been potatoes.
Track. And that's racist. As somebody who's 75% Irish, we don't talk about that potato famine. That's harsh.
But
do I need to take that out?
No, I'm just saying. No, leave that in. Let people know how you taunt my people. How you taunt? Yes.
Potatoes are a valuable vegetable, a rooted vegetable.
Well, I'm just saying. We don't use potatoes as currency.
But
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4.
How dare you?
Dublin is yours.
You're gonna get yourself canceled. I hope all of our Irish listeners email you at boardgamesnobs@gmail.com.
Scott Richard.
What?
Who is a Scottish person?
Well, I'm just saying, it's very triggering just looking at you because you look like a potato. All right, that's enough of this. We like Boru.
you always say that
hard name.
It's not really
Byron Boru. Boru. He's really good.
Brian Boru.
It's very nice. Enrique is his favorite game. He loves it.
10 out of 10.
I love
new
it.
number 1.
I just saw no problem with it. The board's beautiful.
Okay, quick question.
Okay.
If I said, Enrique, come over today, we're going to play
No.
your choice. Anachrony?
No,
No.
Save it for the list. We got to do a top 10 here soon. We want people to be in suspense over what Enrique's favorite game. So no, let him think about it. Don't put pressure on him.
We don't do a list but like once a year.
And it's coming up. It is too coming up.
It's coming months from now.
We always do it after BGG. And it's been after BGG. So it's time for the Boru top 10.
Born guru.
Guru. He's a guru.
Oh my God.
I'm not a guru. I'm a Boru. I don't even know. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
It is not. I can assure you. It is not Byron.
Byron?
Guru.
Brian? Oh, it's Brian.
It's not hard. It's right there.
I'm sorry. The shadow's on it.
Brian.
It's just weird to think.
B-O-R-U.
It's just weird to think of a historical person, a king, and what's his name? Brian. It's like Brian.
That's so boring.
Who's your general? That would be Tim. I mean, it's like, and we've got Tyler over there. He's the high priest. I mean, it's like this doesn't sound right. They're supposed to have more ancient sounding names. Brian. Well, that's enough for this episode. We do appreciate you all for listening.
Squeezed a good almost an hour out of this.
That was a long. This is a long podcast for something that was just Brian.
This is the length we should have a podcast.
Albatross.
But now that you have a home,
yes,
and now you're not homeless and quote unquote moving, which has been your excuse for like 3 months.
Yeah,
now.
I've been homeless.
I don't think you were homeless.
I was staying with people. I did not have a home, and you didn't even care.
I can now pack up this small device, my Zoom take it to your house and like, bam, Jerry, get your kids out of here. We're going to go in your room. We're going to podcast.
That is a very nice device.
It is very nice.
It's very nice.
It's very handy. I don't have to put up my computer and my mixer and all that garbage.
All right.
It's like you plug and play.
That's going to do it for this episode.
Oh.
We got to move on to the next.
Yes.
Which is featuring a game we liked a lot.
I enjoyed it thoroughly. Enrique.
But it may leave some cold.
Ooh, that's called a teaser, Enrique.
Tease.
That's when you say stuff that relates to the game, and then you kind of like leave them hanging. You kind of leave them hanging a little bit. This is Jerry.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.